Welcome back to the Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner of your home sold guaranteed realty. Barb, most home sellers have a great deal of love for their properties, and sometimes that translates into an unrealistic belief, resulting mistakes either in agent selection, pricing, marketing, or all three. What should a home seller do if their house is not selling?
Well, Richard, there's a lot of things that you can do, but most agents go right to lower the price, but it may not be the price. Sometimes it's not the price. Sometimes it could be the way it's marketed. It could be what the pictures look like, or it could be somebody that's just not adapting if the market's changing real rapidly, which is what's happening right now. I mean, there were a couple of properties that we put on the market where we thought when we established the price a month or two before we actually went on, it was a good price, but the market changed so quickly. We had to adapt before we went on or soon after because the market changed. And that can happen. It's not that common. But the biggest thing to do, first of all, is make sure preparation is done properly. Some of home preparation is intuitive and easy to figure out, but some of it's kind of a mystery. And when you hire a real estate agent, not every real estate agent knows how to deal with the shifting market. Some people may not even know. Some agents may not know the market has shifted if they're not selling that many homes, other than listening to the press. And it's sad to say that in this market, or in most markets, a majority, like 74% of the 5,000 agents in the Pikes Peak region sell 3 or less homes a year. So if you're only doing it occasionally, how do you know what's going on in the market? Are you really paying attention to what's going on? And so what do you do for preparation? That's number one. The next question is, what about pricing? So who really decides on pricing? It's not Zillow. It's not a historic sale. It's not what your neighbor put their house on the market for. Right now, it's even hard to rely on similar sales. It's actually what the market is willing to pay. And it's hard to know that without going on the market. But if you're on the market and you're not getting offers, obviously the market's not willing to pay it, especially if you've gone beyond the average days on market, which right now is 32 days. So the market is the one that decides who's going to pay for your home. And that sounds like this kind of esoteric statement, but at the end of the day, it's buyers out there looking at homes and deciding, I want to see this one, I don't want to see this one. I want to buy this one, I don't want to buy this one. So you have to pass both of those tests. And the first one has to be done with marketing, which you have to make sure that your online presence and the marketing that's taking place is really, really good. And that's promotion. And that's what an agent controls. If the pictures are not good enough, many buyers are going to pass the home buy online. They're not even going to leave their fuzzy bunny slippers to come look at your house because they don't like the pictures. I just met with a seller yesterday that had been on the market for 6 months and didn't sell. Beautiful home, had been remodeled, but I think it did slightly on the price, not horrible, but really the pictures deceived you into what the home actually looked like. It made the kitchen look small. It was hard to figure out how to set furniture. All those kind of things come into play on the promotion arena, which is something that the agent is responsible and not every agent knows how to do it. So you need to know if the agent that you're working for has some buyers that would be interested in your home, has the capability or the resources to make sure you're getting your home presented to the market the right way with the best photos, and knows how to advise you on what to do and what not to do to get your house ready for sale. And so we're offering a free report, and this free report is called Where to Turn when your Colorado Springs area home does not sell. And you can get this report by visiting barbhasthebuyers.com and you can download, go to the seller guide section, and there's all my free reports right there that you can download for free at no cost. And that's part of what we're offering, is to give people good information that can help them make decisions about selling one of their largest assets. So you can do that at barbhasthebuyers.com, or just give us a call at 719-301-3900. Richard?
You're listening to the Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty. And if you're thinking of making a move, Barb's the person to call, 719-301-3900, or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Barb, if a home seller has to make a real estate agent switch, what are some of the things that they ought to consider?
Well, I didn't do this segment to suggest that people should make a shift. It may not be that there's any problem with the agent, or maybe there's just a lack of communication, that they're not talking to each other about what's going on in the market and what the issues are. So step one would be to talk. If you have your agent on the market, if you already signed to an agreement and you have your house on the market, talk and find out what the issue is, and really drill down and make sure you can get it resolved. And the most common issues typically are simply communication. And there are some sellers that just fire you if the house doesn't sell. And really, most of the agreements in the state are structured that the agent has what they call a fiduciary duty to their client, meaning the seller. So that means that they have to protect the seller's interest with good faith, loyalty, and fidelity, and put their interest effectively ahead of theirs. Is that kind of, in legal world, is that kind of how you perceive fiduciary, Richard?
Oh, absolutely. And it's a very serious obligation. When we started working with each other and you first brought that up, I was delighted to hear that, because not everybody takes it so seriously in real estate. And yet it's one of those things that I think every buyer, every seller ought to really be looking for, because they want somebody who has that kind of investment in the buyer or the seller that you do.
Right. And people don't do this every day. You don't buy and sell homes every day. It's a very much a high ticket item by comparison to the other things that you buy and sell. And there's a process to it, and it has to be done right, or you could have issues. And what's interesting is the way this state has stacked up the agreements. In the state form, which is called the exclusive right to sell agreement, there's actually not a whole lot in the form about the agent's performance. There's a few things about, that you can't disclose anything that would be a private information, and you have to disclose any broken things about the house. But there's not a whole lot about those 3 Ps: preparation, pricing, and promotion. That's actually not in the state form. And those are the things that really matter when it comes to selling. So you want to make sure that if you actually have to make a change, that you understand what's in your agreement, because a lot of agreements are signed by the seller to commit the seller to a certain time frame. And right now, time is not your friend. And the reason I say that is, as the interest rates are going higher in many of these property price ranges, that could affect the selling price of the property, because fewer buyers can afford those higher payments, which means there's lesser demand. So as you go on and on and on, and you let the price drag down, it's going to hurt you. So you really need to evaluate that. So there's a couple of things that are absolute slam dunk that you could get out of your contract. One of them is if the agent just abandoned you, they're not talking to you at all. Or if they didn't fulfill their regular, what they call uniform duties, which are perform any written or oral agreement, present all offers in a timely manner, disclose any adverse facts. Those are all the normal duties. And then there's the additional duties, which are the fiduciary duties, which are to promote the interest of the seller with utmost good faith, loyalty, fidelity, seek the price and terms acceptable to the seller, and counsel them on benefits or risk of the transaction. So did they do that or not? And actually, the state forms don't really dive in and specify that in that much detail. It's very subjective the way the form is written. So at the end of the day, you have to kind of pay attention to it. First, try to resolve it. And then if you need to cancel your contract, then there has to be a conversation. You're going to have to get it in writing. There are actually 2 paragraphs in the state form that you need to pay attention to. One of them is paragraph 19 that says the seller has a right to cancel if they don't believe the agent is performing their duties, any written or oral agreements. And the other is called a holdover clause. What that could mean, which it terrifies a lot of sellers, is does the seller owe 2 commissions if they switch agents? And that's really scary. But actually, it would have to be written in your agreement as a holdover clause. And procuring cause, which is really what a holdover identifies, is if an offer was presented to you during the listing and there was an unbroken chain of events. That's the only case that would happen. It's pretty hard to prove that. At the end of the day, I had one experience, I'll tell you a story, Richard, where the seller had hired another agent before they hired me, and they just weren't happy. Everything was going south. They didn't believe that the agent was telling them the truth. Like one of the things that the agent said was, well, we had a dozen people at the open house. Well, duh, they had a Ring doorbell.
Oh my gosh.
It's on camera.
Busted.
So, yeah, so she wasn't telling the truth. And then when they said, okay, this isn't working out, we want to cancel, what she did was threaten to sue her own client. So wait a minute, you have utmost good faith, loyalty, and fidelity for the customer, and yet you're threatening to sue them. Does that make sense?
That is, no, not at all.
Anyway, so what they ended up having to do is going directly to the broker and presenting their case. And the broker said, okay, we're canceling this right now. And it was taken care of. And they hired me and I went on to sell it, and they're very happy. So we are offering a free report about where to turn to when your Colorado Springs area home does not sell. And it'll give you 4 critical issues to ensure that your home will sell the next time fast and for top dollar. And you can find that by going to barbhasthebuyers.com. You go to the seller guide, and those are all my reports right there, or call us at 719-301-3900. Richard?
Well, it's time for the lightning round of great homes for sale. Share a little bit of that with us. Barb, what do you have?
All right. Well, a beautiful rancher at 2887 Mary Lane. This home is priced to sell at $369. Really adorable. Lots of hardwood floors. We have a beautiful home at 5765 Toma Drive, northeast part of Colorado Springs at $4,099. Great price for this home with fresh carpet. A stunning 4-level home with granite in every bathroom and the kitchen. Gorgeous home at 435 on 2115 Sather Drive. A beautiful Briargate home close to the Briargate YMCA. Briargate YMCA at 4295 Bayswater, priced at $449,999. And then we have a gorgeous downtown home at 550 East Platte in the upper 5s, and coming very soon, a spectacular Southwest home remodeled at 1006 Zodiac Drive. Beautiful Northeast home, 3620 Tapestry Terrace over by Cottonwood Park, priced in the mid-4s, and a spectacular custom home on 1025 Garlock Court, priced just under $1.3 million. Richard?
That'll be it for this week. Remember, give Barb and her team a call at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. And if you didn't listen to the entire show, check it out on podcast. You can go to barbhasthebuyers.com, go to her YouTube channel from there. Don't miss it. And we'll talk to you next week. Barb, have a great week and a great weekend.
Thank you. You as well.